Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the BD Show. I'm here to do a review for the new movie Saturday Night, which is about the creation of Saturday Night Live. More specifically, about the first night leading up to the first show of Saturday Night Live. I'm going to start with non-spoiler thoughts if you haven't seen the movie yet, so don't worry. I will give you a warning before I start getting into spoilers. There's not a ton. So I guess just big picture, this movie is about the creation of Saturday Night Live. It basically is more about the first night, not so much about other stuff. Really just covers the first night. It covers guys like Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and pretty much just Lorne Michaels, who's like the creator, and pretty much just follows them throughout the night. And that's kind of just a big picture of what the movie is about. I guess, spoiler warning, there's not a ton to spoil, but I guess I'll just say it off the top because I realize it all just kind of blends together. This isn't like a superhero movie where like there's a lot to give away, but I guess I'll just say it now and get into it. So, like I said, this movie is about the first night of Saturday Night Live, and I don't think this movie, I don't know a ton about the creation of Saturday Night Live and about the original cast. I watched it. I don't watch it so much anymore. I watched it probably a lot as a kid and kind of growing up. It was always just kind of on in the background. My parents were watching it. But I thought, so overall, I think this movie was a solid movie. It wasn't an amazing movie. I don't think anyone is going to watch this movie and I don't think most people are going to be obsessed with it and love it and have it be one of their favorite movies ever. But I also don't really see anyone hating this movie. I think this is a movie that you just kind of go to the movies, you get entertained, and then you kind of go home and you don't really think about it again. I think it's well paced. I don't even know what you call it, but the movie is constantly you're constantly in motion. Imagine you're backstage in either a Broadway show, but in this case Saturday Night Live, and it's just all the chaos. And so you're kind of moving with the camera, almost like the camera is a person, and you're just going from person to person to person. Things are moving, it's small interactions, and at times it really seems like the whole movie is one big scene. It's not like, okay, there's a scene cut, there's a scene cut, there's a scene cut. It's just you're moving. And this movie does something that I originally, I think, noticed in Christopher Nolan movies is there's kind of a music playing, sometimes louder, sometimes smaller, but there's constantly music playing in the background. There's almost never even a few seconds where you don't notice music being played, and I think it adds a really good tone to the movie, a really good beat to the movie. So I thought that was good. The guy who plays Chevy Chase, I think, did a good job. I know him as the Riddler from the Gotham show. I forgot his movie, but I thought he did a good job. If you watch Gotham and you know the Riddler, I like that actor. I think he's talented. Dylan O'Brien did a good job playing Dan Aykroyd. I just think he's funny in general. I've been a fan of him since Teen Wolf, so I thought he was good. The guy who plays Lorne Michaels, I think, did a good job. Like I said, I don't know how accurate any of these are, but it worked for the movie. And, a question that I ask, and I don't normally ask this question because I don't like it, because the point of movies is to be entertained on our side, and on their side, it's to make money. So I hate when people ask, what's the point of this movie? Well, the point of this movie is that people were paid to make it, and literally every movie, there's at least hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are making a living and feeding their family based off the movie. So that's the point. But this is one of the rare movies where I really ask, why was this movie made? And because there's really no, I guess it's kind of if you're an original fan of the show, it could be kind of cool, but it doesn't really go into the character so much personally, and so it's not really like that. I think a documentary about the creation of Saturday Night Live and the first show would be way more interesting than what they're doing here. It's very surface level, and the reason I ask what the point of it is just it's not really a crack up comedy where you're cracking up every 5 seconds, and there's no really Saturday Night Live gets made and it's successful, it's still on the air, so there's no point where you're really worried about what's going to happen. And so it's very much in kind of the same mold as Air. If you've seen the Air movie about the creation of the Jordan sneakers, I didn't like that movie the same way I didn't like this movie. It's kind of made like a sports movie where there's this big climax at the end, but there is no climax. We know the Jordans got made, just like we know Saturday Night Live got made. And so I think the interesting part of the movie what they tried to make the interesting part was like, oh my God, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Is this going to be a failure? Is this going to be a failure? And they even have Willem Dafoe's character, who I think is a real person, but I don't think the way he was portraying him is real. Pretty much the head of NBC or the head of talent, pretty much at the last second gives the green light to go live, and they make it super climactic. But there's no way it was like that in real life. And even for the movie, it doesn't really make sense. So yeah, I guess just from that perspective, I don't really understand the point of making a movie like this. I don't really understand making a movie like this when there's really no punchline. That's what I mean to say. There's no punchline to this movie. And you look at like Social Network. That movie, although there wasn't so much a punchline in that movie either, because you knew Facebook was going to get made, the movie was written incredibly well and crafted incredibly well. That made it interesting. I don't think they did that here. So yeah, I think this was just like, a surface level, good, entertaining movie. It probably won't be my top 10 favorites, but it also definitely won't be my top 10 least favorites. It's just a solid night at the movies. I think a lot of people are going to like this movie. I think it's a solid... That's the thing. I don't want to give it like a 6 out of 10, because 6 out of 10 kind of sounds mediocre, but 7 out of 10 I feel like sounds too good. So I guess a 6.5, although it has times where it's like an 8 or a 9. It has some times that aren't so good. But it's funny. It's well paced. It's not too long. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. So if you're just looking for like a solid comedy about something somewhat realistic that did happen to an extent, go watch this movie again. Saturday Night Live. That's my review. Thanks guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.